squat plus band with clients. My clientele is a little bit older. So sometimes instead of doing a squat, which is stand, sit, stand, we do a sit to stand instead. A sit, we start seated, we make sure our alignment is good, we drive through the heels, push those hips forward, squeeze those glutes, and then eccentrically come back down. So in today, we're going to be doing a squat plus band with a medium resistance band. Putting it, I like to put it either above the knees or below the knees. I prefer above the knees, but never on the knee. So what we're going to do is keep hips, feet hips width apart, right over those ASIS. Some people like to have them just a little bit lower where that ASIS is hitting the outside of their sneaker, but it is okay. I prefer them right under my ASIS. What we're going to be doing is we're going to imagine that there's a chair right behind us, not that one there, of course, and we're going to keep that chest up tall, engage that core. We're going to reach those glutes, hinge from the hip, just like the hamstring stretch, using that band to activate the glute med to externally rotate those knees rather than getting into that valgus position like we had seen with the test. So pushing those knees out, using a medium resistance band, and then coming back up. What we're going to do is when we get back into that seated position, we hold for 2 seconds, we come back up, and then squeeze those glutes for another 2 seconds. Then come back down, hold for 2 seconds, and come up and squeeze. We want these movements to be slow and controlled, weight in the heels, and we want to make sure that we're not externally rotating the knees and the feet too much, and this ends up happening. We want to make sure that those toes are staying nice and neutral. So coming down and coming back up. If a medium resistance band is too light, especially for our larger football players, hockey players, where they've got strong legs, we want to increase their resistance to a heavy resistance band. But again, it's more of an education tool to remind those glute med to contract and externally rotating by adding a little bit of resistance into that valgus position. And come up. So that is the squat plus band. We would do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Now the next one we're going to do is something called a monster walk. There is 2 different ways to do this, so practitioners definitely have their preference, but I will show you mine. So we're going to come into, again, that athletic position, feet under hips, come back into a little bit of a squat, have that weight in between those feet. You're able to go forward, but also pedal back if you need to. And what we're going to do is we're going to activate those glute med, hands in front, swish in, push out. Swish in, push out. Swish in, push out. Swish in, push out. Other people like to do a monster walk side to side, so it's pretty isolated, where we're just activating that glute med. Because it's an integrative movement, I want to be able to activate those abductors with the swoosh. So each step, right and left, is 1 repetition. We're going to do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. The last one that we're going to do is a single leg balance reach. This kind of incorporates a little bit of everything. A little bit of quad strength, a little bit of hamstring strength, a little bit of glute strength. We're going to have in the front, or you know what, I'm going to do left leg, in the side, and then diagonally posterior. We're going to stand right in the middle. We're going to shift that weight to that left leg. Now shifting that weight to the left leg is going to activate that glute med so that we don't have this hip translation. We want to make sure that those hips are neutral. We're going to stick out that right leg, do a little mini squat and touch. To the side and touch. To the back, where is it? And touch. If someone gets off kilter, what I want them to do is come back to neutral, activate those glutes, engage that core, and then reset basically. So go to the front, to the side, and then to the back. That ankle should feel a little bit burning for proprioception and balance. Around the world is going to be 1. Around the world again will be 2. We're going to do 3 sets of 10 repetitions again. All right, and so those are our our integrative exercises for the day. One more kind of run through of what we're doing. Day 1 is self-induced myofascial release of the calf, lateral gastroc and soleus, the outer thigh, the vastus lateralis, the TFL, or outer hip, outer thigh. We're going to do the inner thigh with the adductor in the groin area. We're then going to move to lengthening, which this can be done either after a good warm-up. I prefer after activation and after the integrative movement, where we're doing the frog stretch for the groin or the adductors. We're doing the standing external rotation of the hip for the hamstring stretch for that biceps femoris, and then a straight and bent knee calf stretch. Activation is going to be the internal rotation of the hip with the hamstring curl. TKE or terminal knee extension. Integrative is going to be squat plus band, monster walk plus band, and single leg balance reach. Thank you for listening.